I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM players. I don't know why I said it like that, but we are the CRM players. So.
Are you? You say that every week, but I'm never actually sure.
You know why I'm sure? It's because we've been bringing whatever that thing is for the CRM players since 2009. That's a long time.
Maybe it's the Austin.
The AZ?
Yeah, Austin.
No.
He's the one who told us.
Yeah, but it's not Austin. It's just Austin. But, it is what it is. We're glad to be here. I'm glad to be here.
I am too.
Yeah, I am too. You know what? But I think we've kind of lost part of our beginning of the show because it's been a while.
It's been 3 weeks?
Probably at least. So we will give Sven a pass since it's been on us.
I think he's on. He might still be on vacation. He was on vacation. He sent me a note he couldn't be on last week because he was basically snorkeling and swimming in I forget where, but it was beautiful wherever it was. It was a bucket list place for me. Turkey, nice. I think. Someplace in Turkey, maybe.
Snorkeling in Turkey. All right.
I don't remember.
Can't be mad at that. Anyway, we are glad to be back from all the travels and all that kind of stuff. Matter of fact, I just posted a little compilation. I was going to say mixtape, but it wasn't quite a of our recordings. Man, we did a lot of recording out at CCE.
Yeah, we did. We actually didn't.
Oh, look who's here.
Oh my God. Oh, well, this is Spanish. Right. This is like last minute get together for him. But thank you for even making the effort.
It could be Portuguese.
Not with amigo.
I don't know.
Amigo and mucho que no te vea. Portuguese is a little bit weirder looking than that. If it was Portuguese, something happened. Said they're having trouble streaming to Facebook.
That's kind of par for the course. All right, so he's giving you a happy face. That's like, is that?
That's a yes, it is.
Is that, or is he happy that we were talking about his snorkeling in Turkey? I mean, it could be that.
It's funny, Sven. Where was it? I want to say it was Turkey, but it may not have been. So can you
let us know first if that's happy face? If the happy face meant he actually got it right, or you were just happy to be snorkeling in Turkey. I mean, either way, while we wait for that, we do have a really, I was going to say a really big shoe, but
Wow. So far you're not saying a lot of things.
Yeah. I'm just saying a lot of things that I'm not
no mixtape, not a really big shoe.
Man, I'm feeling kind of old.
He's saying it's Mexican. Well, no, that's Spanish for God's sake. I mean, he's dialected. He's being dialect.
I don't know. I might have to say
there's no way to distinguish it because it's spelled the same. It's not pronounced the same.
It's Espanol.
Yeah, I mean, you don't. The only time you might see a difference in spelling if it's Castilian Spanish.
Oh, Sven was in Tunisia. Did you spend a couple of nights in Tunisia there?
That's what it was. It was Tunisia. Not Turkey, Tunisia.
Now I want to listen to some Dizzy Gillespie all of a sudden. I don't know. It just, nights in Tunisia.
Yes, I actually had the album.
One of my favorite Diz jams.
I had that album.
Good stuff. All right. So we got to move along. Oh, look who's here. Mr. Contently.
That's contentful.
Contently?
He's full of contempt.
No, that would be contemptly.
No, content.
Or contemptful.
He's full of content.
He's full of something. We'll just move it along, though, because we do have two guests, although it's kind of hard to call these guys guests.
Yeah.
But we have the cold one, the bold one, John Lawson at
the cold one, the bold one, the old one. John Cole. He earned that designation when he was turned 50.
I was just going to skip over that part. But
I won't.
That's kind of a 3, and that's what do we call that? A collision, a crossover, or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a crossover. No,
it's a crossover. No.
Wait, is that what we call it? No,
not really, because we never go on any of his shows.
Yeah, so. I know. So it's his guest
It's
appearance.
the Colder Ice Invasions.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know. That's coming up at 3:30. But before that, we have somebody we've known for a long time, and I still say we're gonna have to ask him about this because since certain things have changed since the last year or so, he's still, including you used to say he was the best Twitter handle. There's no Twitter anymore, so it's the best X handle. That just
he has the best X handle, the best X handle. X
like
handle.
you said. Like I'll just say
best X handle on X.
It is one of the co-founders of SugarCRM. And do you want to go a very mini introduction because we are on a time constraint?
Yeah, this is a really easy one. He is awesome. There it is.
And there he is. It is the one and only Clint Oram.
Hey guys.
So co-founder.
I was wondering where you're going with all that X commentary. We'll leave it at 1X.
Yeah, 1X. So what's the best? Because forever we would just say, oh, he's co-founder of Sugar, and you would have some C, and then there's some other initial after you, like chief strategy officer. You were chief marketer. You're just fill in the blank after the C. That's what we used to like introduce you as. So what do you go by now?
I'm the podcaster dude now. I just go by co-host. There's a C at the beginning. Co-host of Prompt This Podcast.
So wait, who's your other host?
A good friend of mine, Greg Rosenthal. I look forward to introducing you to him. He comes from the call center space. He's been kind of in the technology ranks from companies like 8x8 and a few others. Mm-hmm. But he and I have known each other since college. We were roommates back at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. And so we figured we both wanted to get smart on the AI topic. We both realized that a lot was changing. So we figured the best way to do it was go out and start talking to everybody we know. And hey, let's make a podcast out of it along the way.
So tell us some more about it. Podcast.
Yeah. 2 months in. So we launched at the beginning of September. So almost 2 months to the day. And we've had a phenomenal kickoff. Just built an audience very quickly. Hit all of our internal targets way faster than we thought we were going to. And frankly, feeling like we got the tiger by the tail, which is a fun place to be.
Well, you're ahead of us. Yeah. After 16 years, we have no audience at all.
Yeah, we have no idea who listens to us and why.
We never had what you called an internal. When you said internal target, my immediate thought was, what's that?
All right, so we know you have things to do. You probably got people to talk to, podcasts to create, that kind of stuff.
Got an interview coming up after this. Yeah,
so we got to get to it with this guy. So I talked to Clint a little earlier this week, or was that just like
this week
or 2 weeks? Yeah, it's a couple of days ago. And we were tossing a couple of things over, and it was around all the. Let's see. I think I got a very, very highly designed slide that I like to introduce here. And see how beautiful it is.
That is gorgeous.
So
it looks like it came out of ChatGPT is what it looks like.
Really. No, that came out of Copilot.
Well, you know what? It might have come out of I think I used Gemini, which is kind of weird as I get ready to talk about ChatGPT and OpenAI.
You mean Siri now?
Yeah.
Did you guys see that news this morning? Siri is going to be powered by Gemini for the next several years. Apple's just about to close a major deal with this is like the time of huge AI announcements right now. Like big money being thrown around between like 10 different players.
Speaking of big money, let's get to the slide. Let's
talk about that slide. That's big money. Those are bees.
Those are bees, yes, with the billion. So the last actually the Stargate news was a little before that, but it seems like the last 3-4 weeks or so, people are just throwing money at ChatGPT or OpenAI because of ChatGPT. I guess 135 billion from Microsoft, 100 billion from Nvidia, 50 billion. Actually, I think it was 38 billion, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was 38 billion because I was like, why is it AWS coming in like with this chump change, like 38 billion? That's nothing compared to some of the other ones. Anyway, lots of money. And then I saw this tweet that literally, I think, Sam Altman just put out not too long ago, and just reading through a little bit, because apparently he was getting a lot of questions about getting all this money. What are you going to do with all of it? Is it going to actually pay off in anything? And he said, yeah, we expect by the end of this year, or he says to end this year, above 20 billion in annualized revenue with a run rate, and a grow to hundreds of billions in revenue by 2030. That's a pretty big number. And then that we are looking at commitments of about $1.4 trillion over the next 8 years.
Yeah.
So then you go back to this, not to that. Then you go back to this. Like now you see why all these companies are throwing this amount of money at them, and some of the impact is like kind of unbelievable. Look at this. Somebody shout out to our buddy Leland, or I forget.
Wow, that's a good slide. I'm gonna take a screenshot of that one right now. I like that. I don't like that slide, but it tells a story, doesn't it?
It tells a story, and it also kind of explains why all these people are throwing hundreds of billions of dollars at these guys. They haven't even been out. It's this year. This month. I think it was towards the end of the November of 2022 when ChatGPT kind of was sprung on at us. And quite honestly, did anybody know what the hell that was when it happened, or what? Nobody could foresee.
No, that was
what
the best, most descriptive name of all time. ChatGPT. We instantly understood what it did.
Wait a minute. Most people know what chat was.
I still can't remember what GPT stands for. Like I know there's transformer in there somewhere, but
generative pre-trained. Generative pre-trained transformer, something like that.
That's what you said.
That was a movie.
Gesundheit.
But look at what has happened since then. I mean, and I'm not saying this is causal. I'm just reading what's in front of us here.
Kind of. Well, I mean, is that total job openings in every single category possible of job, including blue collar, low pay?
Well, basically, just reading it, it says ever since it came out, S&P is growing like crazy and is getting that hockey stick thing. And on the flip side, it looks like some jobs are being lost here, and they're kind of going up at the same rate, but in different directions. So
I think there's two stories in there.
Tell us what you see in this. Yeah, this is like a war. What do they call that? War shot? That where you take an image and you tell people to
Rorschach diagram or something like that.
The Rorschach.
Wrong show.
That's it.
The Rorschach. So
all right,
Barbarino effect. The Barbarino effect.
Mr.
Clint, what do you see when you look at this?
I see a couple of things in here. So I see a lot of squiggly line down. What I see in here is part of the story that it's trying to push forward, which is AI is impacting jobs. I think that's absolutely happening, but nowhere near to the scale that I think might be implied in this. Because what I see in here is look at the blue line in 2021 and look at the blue line in 2025.
Right.
Oh, we got back to where we were pre-pandemic. I think there's a pandemic story in there. I think there's a pandemic false economy story. That a lot of stimulus money got pumped into the economy. A lot of companies were spending stimulus money on technology. It fueled a lot of growth in technology companies coming from that stimulus money. And technology companies were hiring people right and left. There was a flat out war for talent back in 2022, 2023. As everybody was trying to gobble up as much talent as possible. And I remember looking at that and going, that is not sustainable. This is such a bubble right now. And so there you go. So I mean, I'm looking at 2008 when things were going good, pre-2008, and then we had the 2000 crash and things, and the jobs went down and they started growing back. I think we're popping a bubble here. Is really what it comes down to a large degree.
But wouldn't you say, because they seem to be tracking pretty closely up until 2023, and then they completely diverged?
Yeah.
So you think it's just a miracle?
I think there's two pieces. Like I said, I think it's it's both those stories. I do think companies, as they look at a tight economy, look at the macroeconomics going on right now, a lot of companies are uncertain about the future, whether it's tariffs or whether it's inflation, or there's just a lot of uncertainty in the economy. And I talk to a lot of companies that are tightening the belt, not so much because revenue is necessarily going down, but just everybody's uncertain about the future. But revenue for some companies is certainly going down, and so they're just tightening their belt. And we hired a lot of people, and there's a lot of people that, unemployment was at one of its all-time lows during the peak of that blue. So I think you look at all those pieces together, and what I see is a bit of a right sizing in the market right now in terms of the number of employees that certainly technology companies have. That's where I've got my most visibility. And then I'll see a lot of companies that are using AI as a convenient scapegoat.
All right. Before I get your take on this. So do you expect then at some point in time, these graphs will converge again? Because right now they're going further and further apart.
Then I'm going to kind of poke a bit at the graph. I don't know that they're designed to be. I mean, so one tells you what the S&P 500 has been doing, and one has been telling you about job openings. I don't know. Hey guys, I've been through a few different bubbles. It feels very bubblish right now. Yeah. Like all the stuff happening around AI. I'll call it. It feels bubblish.
Come on, you could say bubblicious. That would have been better.
I think the bubblicious is going to pop. I think we're. I look at that previous slide where those projections. Let me tell you, I've been part of building those kinds of messages. Those projections that you put out there are always your best case scenario.
Yeah.
Right. You never put your worst case scenario, you put your best case scenario. We're looking at commitments of about $1.4 trillion over the next 8 years. That's what you'd expect the CEO of a publicly traded company to say, right?
Or one that expects to be
a publicly traded company. You expect the CEO to say. So I think in here, I think we're going to see a bubble pop. I think I see a lot of behavior out there of companies and investors trying to take as much money off the table as they can right now. I see a reset coming ahead of us, and I think I'm not going to sit here and predict that those lines trend together or anything like that. I'm just saying I feel like we're in a bubble, and I think there's some pre-bubble activity of tightening up your spend and your bottom line. That's kind of what I'm reading out there at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because one of the things about this particular bubble is it's a financial bubble specifically. It's not a technical bubble, meaning the actual technology is reaching the level. The world famed hype cycle is actually being realized, right? Meaning the technology is actually moving as fast as you can imagine it moves. And the use cases and the case studies now are being both defined and executed. And we're starting to actually see the technology being used in mainstream in a way that it's in effect becoming part of ordinary life. It's not 100% there yet, but it's on that path on the one hand, which means that's not a bubble. So it's not, there's no technical, like with the,
1999.
Well, yeah, well, basically
feels like 1999.
Yeah, because the financial bubble is definitely a bubble, right?
Like it was financial bubble around laying all that that fiber that we laid in the early 2000s. There's a lot of that was driven by speculation. Yeah, I got to tell you guys, I feel a lot of analogies back to the late 90s right now, to the beginning of the internet era. It feels like I feel like all the expectations that we have ascribed to AI will play out. They will not play out as fast as people predict. And I think the money's ahead of the reality. And I think we're in a bit of a bubble. And I think when you layer that, and by the way, when you go back to that S&P growth, I was reading a New York Times article this morning, said something like, all of the S&P growth this year is attributable to 5 companies. And I think it was pretty much those 5 companies you listed just before. Like all the growth is coming from these guys passing money to each other and making commitments that are being fueled by companies like investors like SoftBank. That's my take. It feels bubblish. I don't care in the long run, but these bubbles happen. I'm here for innovation. I'm here to see how people do better with technology, build better lives, build better companies, build better businesses. And along the way, you're going to have these ups and downs, and that's the roller coaster that we call tech. And there you go. It happens.
All right. We got like 5 minutes. So I want to get to the main thing here. Let me pop
the Niners. Niners are winning this Sunday. That's the main thing. We're
not getting to that. So moving right along. So with all that, so we have the S&P going like crazy, and who knows what role OpenAI is playing or not, but it might be playing that role. But look at some of these companies here. As Adobe announced, I think it was either earlier this week or last week. Look at and I just took a snapshot of where they are today with their stock price. And if you look to the right with the little arrow, look at the 52-week range. They are at the bottom of their 52-week range. They're not alone, though. HubSpot came out, I think, just yesterday, and then they are getting clobbered today. But look at
non-AI infrastructure companies are having a tough time right now.
Speaking of another one of those, Salesforce. Now, some of these companies, they all play some role in CRM, some more than others, of course. But when you look about what's going on with all the investment by the hyperscalers and some of the other companies in the OpenAI or ChatGPT or whatever, and then you look at some of these main software companies that have been the leaders forever, it seems, and they're all taking a hit. What do you think the impact of all this stuff with what's going on with OpenAI and all the money, and what's going on with some of these software companies and the lack of anything going on with their stock price? What kind of impact do you think this is going to have on CRM specifically? Like what's the OpenAI ChatGPT effect on CRM, given all the stuff that we're seeing right now?
I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Mitch Lieberman called this 10 years ago.
Wow.
Conversational CRM, conversational AI. The guy was calling it 10 years before it was unfolding. He was 100% correct. And I dread saying those words where they're being recorded. He will remind me about that on a video. He's probably building a little GIF right now that he'll text to me every few days of
like I told you so, kind of. Yeah. Okay.
I think the user experience is going to change. I think that's going to be not only true for CRM, but I think it's across all business applications. I think we're about to embrace natural language voice, whether it's said, whether it's spoken, or whether it's written, as a way of interfacing with computing in a way that is largely being defined this very moment in time. It's being defined, and I think the world of building. Well, let me put it. Here's my little clip that you can cut out and stick on LinkedIn. When you were building an app in 2004, you were thinking about relational databases and web apps. When you're building an app in 2025, you're thinking about knowledge graphs and no UI.
Knowledge graphs and no UI.
How do I insert knowledge into a person's work stream in a way that they barely even notice?
Well, I know as bad as Copilot is, they're actually Microsoft, because they have so much ubiquity in the OS part of the universe, just took Copilot and with the latest update of Windows integrated Copilot voice, right? There's about 5 different features that go right to the heart of what you're saying. Is it done effectively? No, but is it there? Yes.
My co-host, he uses Copilot. I've got serious FOMO. This is the first time in 20 years that I've regretted moving from Windows to the Mac platform. Is I don't get the experience that he gets. It's pretty amazing.
Look, I'm a Windows guy and a Mac guy, both, and honestly, you don't need FOMO.
I got to put this up before I let you go. My buddy Alan actually kind of,
he's coming back and giving you the props.
I knew I liked Alan for some reason. I don't know. Anyway,
First one to say it to me was Mitch. Yeah. Hey guys, my pleasure joining you. Love to continue to share what I'm learning about how businesses are adopting AI. We're having a lot of fun over at the Prompt This podcast. You can join us at promptthis.ai.
What's the name of your guest today?
The guest I'm interviewing today is Deepak Diolalikar, and he's a founder of an AI marketing company that helps companies build brand out in large language models. So,
and how will people find your podcast today?
They will find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or just go to our website at promptthis.ai.
Okay,
awesome. And can we still call you Sugar Clint?
You bet.
Okay.
I will always be one of the founders of SugarCRM. I will always be Sugar Clint.
Amen. Right. Thank you.
Thanks again, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. You have a great day.
See you later.
That worked out well.
Yeah, right on time.
You know why?
Why? I can't imagine.
And now it's time for Stump the Godfaher.
I hate this.
I love it.
It always screws it
The
up.
venerable Paul Greenberg.
We, by the way,
Brought
have
to
to
you
change
by
the
Microsoft Dynamics
yeah, I know.
365 Copilot.
time.
Yep, that's true. All right. This will be a quick one.
The answer is $881.
What's the question?
It has to do with the price of what was it, HubSpot or Salesforce at peak this year. Somebody.
So you're kind of wrong on that one, but this question.
I just was taking off one of your slides.
This question. There's a company that just recently said this. Our AI influenced ARR, annual run rate for those who don't know. I'm sure most of us have. Has now surpassed $5 billion, up from $3.5 billion exiting fiscal year 2024. That was just, not that long ago. So that's a pretty significant jump up. So 1.5 divided by 5 is about 30%, right? 30% year-over-year increase in. Okay, I don't know exactly what AI influence
Actually,
means.
40%, but yes.
Yeah, 40%. I thought 2 over 5 is 40.
Do the no, it's just do it's
3.5
1.5 over
1.5 over 3.5.
Right? So
yes.
three
Okay.
3/7 basically.
So 38%. All right, so that's cool. All right. What company said that? And I give you a hint. It's a company in our industry.
Yeah, I'm saying ServiceNow. The only reason I'm saying is because they kind of would potentially that's a percentage of their revenue, not all of it. And it's also, honestly, I have no clue what the hell AI influence ARR is meaning. I mean, what does that mean?
They sprinkled a little AI into whatever it is they were doing.
The Oracle, because Oracle literally is giving it away, and I'm assuming it has something to do with what they are selling as opposed to what they're I don't even know what you would do other than sell it. And it wouldn't be Salesforce because that would be admitting bad. That would be bad admission, not a good one, right? So I don't know.
So you're going with ServiceNow?
For no other reason than I don't have an idea what the hell AI influenced ARR is.
All right. Doesn't look like we're going to get any. Alan, do you have any guesses? I don't know if Alan's still there.
Ganesh, you got any guesses? Ben, you got any guesses?
All right. We're going. In our guest, well, I really don't like calling him a guest, but if you want to, I see you. I see. You want to put a guess in the private chat? Do it, and I'll say what your guess is. But anyway,
you're gonna have to do the intro today.
No, this is gonna be more fun. You doing it? So
I'm not doing it.
You got to do it. All right. So the answer to this week's Stump the Godfather, brought to you by no one right now, is. How about that?
That's probably not even true.
Damn. Well, you can take it up with their I think it was one of their the
CFO.
So you don't believe this number?
Oh, it's probably you know what? This is a company that's doing so little that we know of with AI that it's hard to understand. Really, I mean, we know that they're doing Firefly.
I think that's their big.
That's
AI.
That's it. Well, they
have that AI assistant in like
Adobe Max stuff, the Creative Cloud side. But from our standpoint, they're not exactly standing out. But from the standpoint of creator, they were early actually with AI, but there's more Gen AI specifically.
And that goes back to the
not
point.
agentic.
Look at that. Look at what's going on with Adobe the last year. They're at their, like I said, they're at their absolute low, 52-week low. Yeah, and yet and still they're making money. I mean, you saw that was a healthy 40% jump in whatever AI influence means. I guess we should ask what that means, but I mean, they seem to be getting something. They're doing something with it and making some money off it. But look at the stock price, and it's not just them. Look at HubSpot.
That was the one. See, 881. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah. And look at even Salesforce is not quite. Well, they are very close to their 52-week low. Not too far off. But what these numbers are really interesting to me, because when you look at the AI kind of infrastructure plays, they're going through the roof, comparatively speaking. So,
yeah, I mean, look, again, a lot of it has to do with also how much that they're putting it all out there. I mean, Salesforce is a little anomalous to me, but think about it this way: an unnamed company, actually, partly because we literally don't know the name, who had contacted both you and me about some potential advisory things. We're talking about a Salesforce and Adobe. I mean, Salesforce and HubSpot as the leaders. And I literally had no clue what the hell they were talking about. I mean, HubSpot, they're not an AI leader. I'm sorry. It's just not. They're barely mentioned in the conversation, for that matter. I mean, it doesn't mean they don't have it. And it doesn't even mean it's not well executed. I don't know.
You know what, though? I mean, it's like, and we'll get to our guest, excuse me, in a second. So, but look at, I mean, the stock market is down on any non-AI infrastructure play right now. Now they're a lot further down on Adobe and HubSpot right now, because they're literally at their 52-week lows. But there's companies like ServiceNow who are down, but not down near their 52-week lows. By the way, did you see that ServiceNow and Figma announced something today, a partnership?
Yeah, I saw it, but I didn't read it because I can't find my damn phone.
All right, well, we better move on, because we do have our.
Sure, you didn't want to hold them in the green room for a little longer.
All right, so as we always do on this show.
Yeah, all right, I'll do something.
I will turn things over for the introduction to today's guest, to the venerable Paul Greenberg.
Truth be told, with all the sarcastic comments we're making, I love this guy. I really do. I mean, his nickname is Colder Ice. I think we all know that. And Brent always calls him the cold one, the bold one, and I added the old one when he hit 50. And his actual given name is John Lawson III, and this man is a true thought leader in the small business, in the AI world, in the e-commerce world, in those three areas, and he let's say dabbles really well in a bunch of other ones, and at the same time he's got a wickedly sarcastic sense of humor. And if you ever watch Brent and Colder Ice go at it on Pass the Mic, it's absolutely one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. It literally will pass the test as at a comedy club, as well as having actual content in the conversation. So he really is a great guy, and a man I'm very happy that Brent several years ago introduced me to. So let's bring on the old one, the old one, the old one, and the old one.
Wow.
And there he is.
He was doing so good
until that last.
Up until the last.
Yeah,
line.
I know. I couldn't have done any of that stuff.
That's okay. We can edit. That's okay.
All
right. So first of all, very nice hoodie you got there. What's the team on that one there?
Whatever.
The Falcons? Is that what's on there? Okay.
Hey man, ride or die. This year,
I literally heard someone call for the firing of everybody in the Falcons front office and dismantling the team.
Wow.
and dismantling the.
Exactly. Let's just
It's
do
all right. I'm a
something else.
Giants fan, so what do I have to say about anything?
Right? That's hard.
Other
It's
than
hard
we
to
have
do.
a really cool quarterback.
No, yeah,
Yes,
Jackson.
you do.
Yes, we do.
All right, let's
Yeah.
break all this stuff up. All right. So a few days ago, you wrote something around the impact AI is going to have on the holiday shopping season. I quite honestly didn't really read it, but but we thought it sounds like something that's important. So why don't you give us like a synopsis of what you wrote and why you wrote it?
Well, I mean, I was listening to another podcast interview, and on it they had the young lady from Salesforce. Her name escapes me right this moment, but it was with my friend Scott Wingo, who is one of those ecom giants, and they were talking about the upcoming Q4 holiday season. And one thing that really stood out was that basically 21%, and this, of course, is projection, that AI is going to influence 21% of holiday sales overall, which is a pretty big number.
Mhm.
So that got my ears standing up. And as she starts spitting out all of these different, because that's what they do. I mean, Salesforce keeps a lot of data. As she's giving out all the data, I'm like, oh, this would be cool. Let's chart it out. And so that's what I ended up doing and posting on LinkedIn, I guess, somewhere in there,
Yes.
all kind of peeped it out.
So
And I asked you to post it, so you did.
He did,
Well,
and
yeah,
I
I do that.
reposted it. He
I'm
asked me
just
to
so
repost it.
I'm just so glad you didn't ask me to read it. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So
Well, I put pictures in there, so you don't have to read.
all right. So did it actually, is there any way to tell what percentage of that 21% is going to be coming through like ChatGPT? Because I'm thinking that the vast majority of that is probably going to come through ChatGPT, but I could be wrong. What do you think?
I mean, it's like it said, it's influenced. Very little will be done on the platform, right? For one, they just are turning it on. This is not necessarily the place people are going to shop. However, this is the place where they're going to discover. This is the place where they're doing their research. And then once they've, gotten a link from that research, they go and they purchase.
Right.
So what one of the findings is that the purchasers, right, that the traffic coming from AI is 700% better at conversion than social traffic.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not. Look, I honestly, that's how I do shop on a lot of actually relatively high ticket things, and I've developed an entire, I don't know what to call it, system that I work with. I work with the varying AIs, but to actually, I say, okay, give me a ranking from 1 to 100. Here's feature function, break it down. Here's what I'm looking for. Blah, blah, blah. Give me the top 5. And then I'll see a top 5. I'll say, okay, well, it's missing this, add that, but change this, do that. And after a little while, it refines down to say those 5 choices, and I pick one. And I literally typically, I would say my conversion rate, not 100%, but pretty damn
close, right?
Yeah, very close. Like I'd say 90, right?
Wow.
And yeah, well, because you know what? I'm also asking the right questions, and questions that actually are, again, look, think of it this way. And it's something I actually have thought about, which is being a subscriber to Jobs to Be Done, right? I ultimately, I have a task I need to get done, and that's to buy something to do this, whatever this is. And the way I in the past did it was I researched it myself, and I went on to Google, and I also looked at other sources that I knew would be available. I go to Reddit, things like, I still use Reddit actually for a lot of things. It's kind of my user forum, and then immediately following, my old way of doing it, I try to decide what to do. This way, it's basically for me an aggregation of research but I know what I want to ask it. And that's the important thing, because ultimately I'm trusting my own judgment based on the things I need to get answered. Now, that said, it does answer incorrectly. That does happen a lot, right? Way more than you expect. And so the other thing that I've been learning, but again, I don't know that people have gone this far, is which services will handle which kinds of things better. So, for example, if I'm looking on I want to buy something related to fitness or health or wellness or whatever, Claude's good at that. But Claude is not good at technology, right? It makes mistakes all the time in terms of services. In terms of purchases. So, but it's a learning process on my end too. So but it's continuous, and I don't think even of doing it the way I used to anymore. I'm gonna go to, Gen AI service of some kind. I'm just going to do it.
That makes so much sense. And you're right in that, a target of users, because they're really saying like baby boomers have gone from zero adoption to like a huge, it's huge because you're going from zero to something, right? But it's like all it takes is one inference where you're using it, and then you start figuring out how to use it for more and more things. And between baby boomers and Gen Zs, those two are the ones that are doing a lot of experiences in terms of, shopping with it.
Makes sense. Baby boomers have the time because they're retired, and Gen Z, grew up digital. So I'm wondering though, and think about this, and let's say 10 years from now, we've had the Gen A now, and Gen A, I don't know if I'd call them grew up AI native, but there is going to be a generation that's going to grow up that way. And at that, those 21% are going to turn into 71% if that's the case. Do you see that actually happening?
Absolutely. Without even knowing it's happening. It's just going to be the norm. Because we grew up in the age of, we'll Google it. They're growing up in the age of Ask ChatGPT, and it's a totally different experience.
Remember when we were? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Remember when we were doing the Amazon show years ago, and I was so hyped up on like shopping through Alexa and all that kind of stuff, and we kept every quarter we look at the earnings to see if they're going to break out how many sales actually came through, because Amazon's got billions of this for the quarter and billions of that for the quarter, and I was sitting there, I wonder how much shopping is actually going to come through. They'll break it out when they get to a certain point. They never broke it out because they never got to a certain point. Do you think it's going to be a different story with like the chat GPTs, because they're not necessarily a specific device, even though a lot of folks are now starting to do similar things in these LLM machines versus traditional browsers? But I once thought, remember when I got the first my first Alexa device, and I did that review online, and I was saying, oh, this is going to be, it's not a lot going on now, but you're going to be able to do this, this, and that. And you kind of did for a while there, but it never transferred over to shopping or actually spending money. Do you think this is going to be something that just absolutely 100% people are going to take to this and use it to spend and shop at some point?
Yes and no. I don't think it's fully developed yet to know exactly what the experience was. And, going back to where you were at the time, it was like the thing that was really missing was the intelligence. There was no intelligence behind Alexa. It was just a list of, here's, blue links. It was just a list of blue links. And it was like, okay, you can talk to the blue links now. Now it's totally different. You're having a very engaging conversation. It's like Paul is saying, I'll do my research. I'll ask it the right questions. It'll go and do a deeper dive on the research and give you the answer back. So we didn't have that before. And I think your last guest was at the end where he was talking about how it was changing the way people interact with voice, that voice interaction. I think that is going to be a big differentiator where we had a voice, but it had no intelligence before.
Well, to your multiple points, actually, on the voice side. So the other thing, I've been doing a massive home automation project here. Like, it's really massive. And part of what I'm doing is using Alexa, but here's what's interesting. The Alexa you were just talking about, talking to the blue light, is finally going away, right? It's not away yet, though. It's still in a lot of devices and around, and it's useless at this point. I mean, it lost its value about 5-6 years ago as more than a novelty. The new early access Alexa Plus is a different level. I mean, it's so different. It's stereo. It's got context. It's got memory. It converses intelligently. Like, just a simplest example, but if you think about the implications, it's interesting. Yesterday I said, "Hey Alexa, what time is the New York Knicks game on tonight?" And she gives me the time, and she says, "I hope the Knicks win, Paul. I know you love them." Right? Literally responded that way. And another time, at one point, we would use this, but again, you got to think about the technology that's sitting behind this, right? The other thing it did, which was even more interesting, in a way, it used to be, I don't know if you're aware of, used it at all, but it was horrible on weather, and it would just keep repeating over and over, no matter what you asked it. Now it's very specific. You say, what's going to be the weather at 2:00? So I actually asked it that question at one point, and it said, it'll be partly sunny, but there'll be no chance of rain or snow. And this was in August. So I said, snow? What's that got to do with anything? And she responded, you're right. I don't know. Maybe the weather API was hedging its bets.
That's what she said.
That's what she said.
It's a hell of a hedge.
That's interesting.
You got to, I'll tell you what, take a look, because all of a sudden, the whole idea of that conversation, because look, arguably, given Alexa and Siri, which are both awful, who would want to shop with them? Who would want them to be your personal shopper, right? That, well, I'm an idiot for a personal shopper, right? But with this, it could be, because again, there's context, there's memory, the knowledge. At one point, I told it to remove something from the Alexa, skill, just one thing from one skill, and it did. I mean, it responds and the conversational level is enormously different. So, but and then to your point earlier, Brent, about Siri, was it Siri's going to be powered by Gemini?
I think that was Clint that mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, those things actually are telling you, look, Apple Intelligence has been a piece of.
I was going to say that tells you more about Apple than it does about Gemini. Apple is throwing in the towel, basically.
Well, they should
when they're doing that.
It's still really awful. But that said, that kind of move is the kind of move that Alexa Plus is too, right? They're moving into this actual conversation with the intelligence in a way that's actually seemingly human.
Can we take a step back, because when you're talking about Siri and Alexa,
did you hear that?
Yeah, I did hear that.
Were you talking to me? That was Alexa.
Tell her no.
No, we weren't, Alexa. Sorry.
Get out of here, Alexa. Anyway, so we were talking about the two voice components that really should have been in the lead, but they didn't know how to do intelligence. And I know intelligence isn't an easy thing to do. But remember when we were thinking that voice was hard to do, and now when you think about it, is intelligence harder to do than voice? Because why did those two companies completely miss the boat when it comes to the intelligent aspect? I don't know why. Because I was waiting. You know, we were doing our show every week. I was like, why didn't this thing get any smarter? You know,
Well, see, I think memory is the hard thing to do.
And still hard.
Yeah.
And it's still hard.
Yep.
When you say memory, you mean like instead of like the first evolution of those voice speakers, basically, that's what we were calling them. They weren't really doing conversations. They were doing requests and filling requests.
Right. It was basically ask, answer.
And there was
no reference to anything that had occurred.
There was
ever.
no follow-up. There was no.
There was also no reference to anything previous.
Right. So you weren't having conversations. You were giving orders and getting them fulfilled by this thing. So, you know, whereas a conversation is give and take, you know, context.
There's literal memory here.
Well, yeah, but I mean, just the act of a conversation. Yeah.
It's thought.
Yeah. So
it's taking in all the things that it's knowing, and then it's coming up with an output.
So
it's actually thinking.
Yeah.
So that was 2011 when Siri came out, 2014 when Alexa came out. Literally 11 and 11 and what am I saying? 2014 was 11 years ago. And then even before that, 14 years for Siri, basically. Wow, that took me a long time to get there. So they had that figured out. Do you think it was just too much to try to get both that going and the AI stuff going, and they just gravitated towards the whatever the reason for the voice speaker, as opposed to trying to get the intelligent aspect in the AI? Because AI has been around way longer than the voice component stuff had.
Yeah, but those were AI.
Okay, there were a part of AI that hadn't been around for as long as the kind of more traditional analytical AI stuff. Do you think this was just natural evolution that they finally are catching up with each other? Or should this have been done years ago when the Alexa and Siri initially came out, over decades ago for both of them, and now we're just getting to the point where Siri is going to have some actual smarts in it?
I don't know, but you're frozen.
Yeah, you are.
He's froze. You're back. Okay.
As soon as you moved your head.
What happened?
What happened?
No, my laptop went to sleep.
Okay. Oh. You know, it's a good point. What I think, what kind of is weird to me, and I don't know enough to understand. I don't understand why they have to rebuild the whole thing just to add AI into it. You know, it's like you already have this framework. How come we couldn't just add intelligence on top and then make the old Siri work with intelligence now? You know, I don't understand that part.
It wasn't built to take that in.
Which is fine, but I mean, it seems like you could just flip the switch, you know, and say this is version 2. But it seems like they had to rebuild everything.
Well, remember now, they also spent a hell of a lot of time and effort on a car, which didn't pan out. And now the Vision Pro goggles, and so they weren't focused on those guys.
But what about Amazon?
Amazon, you know what somebody told me. Somebody sent me this really interesting YouTube video about why they think, and it was actually, I think I sent it to you, John, some former Amazon guy trying to explain why, although Amazon is making all this money, and then they had to let go of all these people, the reason wasn't because of AI. It was actually they realized that there's an arms race going on for chips, and in order to do anything moving into the future, you're going to have access to a stockpile of chips. And so what he was saying is the people that they let go, the amount of money they could save from letting those folks go, they were going to take that money and go buy chips so they can have enough at their disposal to try to play some catch up with all this AI stuff. And I hadn't really thought about it like that, but that kind of makes sense, because all the amount of, we're talking thousands of employees, with each of them having a pretty significant, because these are white collar employees. So they have big salaries, have big benefits, have big compensation plans. And if you get rid of them, that money adds up to millions of dollars that you can then throw back into
buy one chip,
buying one. Yeah. But this kind of circles back to how we started the show. This AI stuff is so all-consuming to these companies, and look how much money they literally threw at ChatGPT or OpenAI.
Right. Here's the funny thing, and I was talking to hubby about this, and he said something. We were listening to that interview with Sam Altman and
when he got mad.
Yeah, right. And he said, you know what? He's like, everybody's putting this into this arms race about chips and spend, right? And I think at some level there's a possibility that we're going the wrong way, because China has already shown forth that you could actually take older technology, cheaper technology, and get out the same kind of responses. And if that is the case, then maybe we're spending way too much on building these. It's like, okay, it's all about the bigger it is, the smarter it gets, as opposed to being maybe the more efficient it is, the smarter it gets. And there could be something that could really bust that bubble as well, that we don't even know that's on the horizon. I just find it interesting. It's like you're saying, they're doing all this to get this money to buy these expensive chips, and then somebody could literally do a China thing and say, hey, we've got these old beat up chips, and we just figured out if we change this one little thing, we get the same results. What happens then?
Yeah, well, anything, as soon as something gets to commodity, it's all over.
Well, I think some of these companies are kind of going back to conversation with Schroeder, about when he became the chief. What do you call it? The chief? It's not the chief scientist, isn't it?
No, chief research.
Chief, yeah, maybe it's chief research officer, something like that.
Something like that.
So I think companies like Zoho they're all trying to tackle this problem, and it's mostly around energy and chips. And even though companies are trying to stack up all these chips, I think other companies are working on how do we make chips more efficient, or how do we leverage energy in such a way that that's not the bottleneck and chips become less of a factor, although they will never be.
They'll always be
an incredible factor. But I think there's you're looking at where they're putting up data centers and what kind of resources they're going to start pulling from. You're looking at, trying to take out the central processing and move it out to the edges. And that's why I thought NVIDIA was going to have that device that allows you to do a lot of that processing at your, on your tabletop versus having it go back and forth. Or is it going to be some kind of bandwidth efficiencies that are able to make it faster to move back and forth between the edge and central stuff? I don't know how you can put all your money in the current chips when you don't know, like John was saying, that you don't know how things will develop. And that might make buying those chips like ridiculous because they're going to be overpriced. And maybe this new solution, which has an like built-in better efficiency of power, maybe that's the way to go. I don't know how I guess you got to kind of, if you're these companies like NVIDIA, AMD, and Broadcom, all these kind of companies, I guess they have to try everything at this point because they don't know what's going to land and be the best way to go.
You know what? To that point, though, NVIDIA can. Companies like OpenAI really can't. Right? That's the difference.
Well, they can now with all the investment they're getting.
Well, yeah, but they're also putting. Remember how much they're putting out of that also, right? They're putting out almost not quite that total amount. Well, it's a ridiculous number, right? I mean, so and Altman is, to Clint's point, is just saying what he's supposed to say, but that's where the difference is going to lie. I mean, where NVIDIA can afford to take a hit not a huge. No, they can't afford to take a huge hit. Meaning, all of a sudden, their chips become 1,000 times or 1,000,000 times more expensive than somebody else.
But you know who can take the hit? The Google. And Microsoft. And here's the other one. Oracle is like it's a distant third, but they have all the components. They have everything kind of. They're like a industrial sized Zoho to a certain extent.
They're much smarter about AI than almost anyone. They're not like throwing everything in the universe into only AI. They're attempting to be the ecosystem of ecosystems, and AI is part of that.
And
right?
Specialize in certain areas like healthcare is
Larry Ellison actually, much as not my favorite human, he's incredibly he's on his game big time right now. And and Oracle's separating from the pack as far as that goes. I mean, they actually are on a strategy that's as big as it sounds, ecosystem of ecosystems. It's realizable with them.
Well, remember what we always say about like how are these companies able to kind of stay on top for so long? The database is still very central to everything that goes on in tech. And what do they out and out own, and they've owned for decades, whether it's relational databases or X databases or vector databases
or CDPs.
It's Oracle. So they've been able to build all these levels, the AI layer, the application layer, even the bare metal. And they've built out all of that stuff because of the databases remains very central to everything that goes on.
Damn smart company.
But do you think they actually planned it like that? I mean, that's kind of
originally no.
Yeah.
How could they?
It's like
who knows?
It's like NVIDIA. They just knew to make GPUs for gaming.
They
got lucky with
I still use their GPUs for gaming.
Yeah, but they use a lot more of them for something else now. I mean, and that something else is why
I've given them about $1 trillion.
It's just really interesting how all this stuff, turns in with this AI stuff. Is it the fact that everybody's watching that it makes it even more impactful? Because there's other really important technologies that have come along, but I don't think even stuff that we use every day has gotten as much interest and as much, I don't know, play. Like the internet itself, that was good, but it's AI. I think it's taking it to another level. Mobile got, of course, a lot of play, but this just feels different. I don't know. Does it feel different to you guys,
John?
Absolutely.
So where is it going then? Where's it going to go? Is it going to be it? Is it going to be the internet and then something else supersedes it, or is it kind of the end of
it's going to be
road?
it for a minute. Hey, how about this? It's going to build the next thing.
Ooh, it could.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, I mean, remember we used to talk about blockchain and metaverse. I mean, this thing has totally consumed everything it came out right before it.
You know what the difference is, though? People are actually using this as opposed to building metaverses. Right? I mean, look, even Meta, literally
changed their name
of their company because of it, is giving up on it, and instead is actually using. Look, their AI is actually pretty decent for its purpose.
Super intelligent
AI is focused on it. They embed it in their sunglasses, and guess what? It works, and it really works well. And now they're coming out. So, for example, they've realized AI is the ticket to their metaverse, right? Because they just came out with this thing called again, these are more of the sunglasses called the Meta Display, right? And what they are, instead of just being AI-driven glasses where you can do stuff, via the glasses as opposed to via your phone, this has AR display built in glasses, and it's also driven by AI. And I saw a demo of it. It's amazing. I mean, even at its first iteration, it's amazing. But it's all AI, and Meta's AI. See, Meta's AI is not really a large language model. I don't think. I mean, it's really a very focused model on a consumer, a consciously consumer focused, sell product focused market, and it's not built for big industry or anything like that. It's built basically for people to wear sunglasses and do stuff in their day-to-day life, and it's really incredibly good at it. So, but that's it. The metaverse company of itself is pretty much given up on that, and it's focused on AI as a core component.
Wow.
Exciting.
All right.
Wow.
Interesting
I want a
time.
pair. Well, you know what I want for Christmas, Paul?
He knew better to ask you than me, because
Well, which one though? There's like 5 different versions. And do you need prescription lenses?
Yeah, we need all that.
Yeah, right.
We're old.
all right. You got to let you go because you're getting ready to head to Houston. Good luck getting on the plane
sir.
there.
Yeah, I
hope
need
it
to
works.
get started now.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
walking.
all right.
right,
we
man.
will talk to you
As
later.
always, a pleasure.
Later.
You're awesome.
That was fun. That was a fun hour.
That sure was. It was actually a really good show.
Lots of good stuff.
I love that dude. I
You
love
know-
both those people actually.
Yeah. Well, I can't say that about, I
There you
got a reputation to uphold. But one thing I didn't have time to put a slide together to promote is that for the last 3 years, at the end of the year, we have done what we call our "What is CRM in" series. So I think we started in 2022.
Yep.
And then we went to the last. So what was CRM in 2023? But we did that in 22. Then what we did? What is CRM in 2024? And it was in the 23. So guess what?
What?
I missed a year. Did we start in 23 or did we start?
No, we've had 3.
This is the 4th one coming up.
right.
Right?
This will be the 4th. We had 3 years already.
So what is CRM in 2026? We are going to be doing a series of about four conversations
between 4 and 6, depending.
Yeah. And we're going to do it in some of the more traditional ways we've done it. We're going to start with the big players. So we're still in the process of getting everything buttoned up, but we do know that our buddy John Tasik, who I believe is one of only 2 people that have been involved in every one of these things. So he will be back to represent Salesforce. And we will let you guys know as we get everything lined up, because we're going to be doing the big, revenue generators, those guys. So there's about 5 of those, or I think we're aiming for 5. Then we're going to do one that's more focused at the SMB mid-market panel of folks. Then we're going to do one what we call it with the non-CRM CX players.
Yeah. The ones who are adjacent to CRM.
Yeah, that are playing an increasingly important part in what CRM and CX platforms deliver based off of these kind of companies and partnerships. And then finally, we're doing, I don't know if it's finally, but we're also going to do one around investment into CRM and CX in 2026. What is that going to look like? And then we're going to do an analyst. Yeah, analysts. And I think we're also going to try to do one with actual practitioners. So
that's 6. If we can pull them off, and we're going to do somewhere between 4 and 6. What's the dates?
Well, we know December 4th and 5th were the initial ones, but if we get to the 6th panels, we might have to do something a little additional. But
yeah, so there'll be if it's 4, it's on the 2 days of the 4th and the 5th. If it's 6, there'll be a 3rd day.
Yeah, but we will keep you all up to date. And one last thing to push. March 11th and 12th is kind of like getting right around the corner there. So it's 4 months.
We're about the same place as we were last year.
We've got 4
time.
Yeah, at least we moved it back. So
yeah.
But time. Anyway, the IRL 2026, March 11th and 12th, Atlanta Tech Village, Buckhead in Atlanta. So
make your reservations now. It's going to be invitation only. If you are interested in attending and you're not on the list from last year, and you don't have a clue if you're on a list that we've been putting together for this year, doesn't mean you can't come. but send me an email at paul-greenberg3@the56group.com and say, I'd like to attend IRL 2026, and make sure your email and your name and your title and all that stuff, your contact info is in that email. And then you will be on the list. No guarantees. We're capping it at 200 people. We don't know if we're going to get 200 people, but we're capping it there regardless. So first come, first serve on 200, accepting it.
Yep. And we'll be putting out more and more info as time goes on.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, like I said, that was fun. A lot of good information, a lot of good thoughts, a lot of interesting things going on.
It actually was, and it's we did it good that with John especially. We have an annual show with him always, and it's always a good one.
Yeah, but I'll never tell him that.
No, well, I can tell him that.
Yeah, I feel free.
I can be the surrogate for the. I'll be the good cop.
Yeah,
I'll be a good cop for John. Being a bad cop.
All right. So with all that said, we're a little after the top of the hour. So I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM Playaz, and just to prove that I did not dog nap Minnie, there she is.
There she is, alive, and that's her being healthy, by the way.
Yeah, that's Minnie.
That's right? Minnie healthy and not drugged.
See you next week.
Bye.